Hello, everyone. So in the last lecture, we have talked about weight-volume relationship. And today, we shall study about grain size analysis or particle size analysis or mechanical analysis. See, whenever we talk about the particle size analysis, how we can segregate the particles of different sizes in different percentage. Suppose you are going to take 500 grams of soil sample. Definitely, we have to oven dry it. We have to completely dry it before segregation, before sieving. Okay. So what we have to do, what it says that the method of separation of soil in different fraction based on particle sizes, based on the particle sizes. So we are going to segregate the particles depending upon their size in different proportions. This is our target in grain size analysis. And that's why it is written here. It expresses quantitatively the proportions of various sizes. Quantitatively, 20%, this size, 30%, this size, 5%, this size, right? So different sizes we have to segregate. We have to find out the proportions of the different size. So for the particle size analysis or grain size analysis, two methods are there. One is called as sieve analysis, which is also called as dry analysis, right? And in this case, we have to segregate the particles above 75 micron sizes, right? And suppose you want to find out the size of the particles below 75 microns. As per IS classifications, as we know that less than 2 micron size is called as clay size particles, and 2 micron to 75 micron size particles are called as silt size particles. So in case of sieve analysis, which we are going to discuss today, we have to analyze, we have to segregate the coarse grain size of the particles above 75 micron size. But when we shall talk in the next lecture, we shall discuss about the sedimentation analysis, which is also called as weight analysis. So for the particles having sizes less than 75 micron, that means silt and clay, that we can segregate, that we can proportionate using that methods. That method is called as the hydrometer methods or the mechanical analysis pipette method. But today we are going to talk about the sieve analysis, right? That means the particles having sizes more than 75 micron size. So let us see sieve analysis. What we are going to do. We are going to use the various sets of sieves. You can see here 300 micron is there, 600, 1.18, 2.36, 4.75. Likewise, below 300 microns, we can put at the bottom of the sieve 75 micron sieve, and below that point we can put, right? So how we can distinguish? Suppose you are having different sieves, suppose 4.75 mm sieve, 2.36 mm sieves. So how we can call these sieves? We can call the sieves by their sizes itself, right? Suppose you are having, in your lab, you are having the sieve of 4.75 mm. So we can call it as we can designate that sieve as a 4.75 mm. You can ask from the technician, bring the 4.75 mm sieve, right? 2 mm sieve. Or here, suppose 500 micron sieve is there. We can also say 0.500 mm sieve you can bring, right? So by the size of the sieves, we can call the name of the sieve also. We can see here how we can distinguish the size of the sieves. Suppose 4.100 mm sieve you are having, 100 mm sieve. So in that case, the pore size of that sieve will be 100 mm by 100 mm. This is the meaning. Suppose you are having the size of 4.75 mm sieve. You are having the 4.75 mm sieve. In that case, what we can say, the pores will have dimension 4.75 mm by 4.75 mm. Similarly, if you are having 2.36 mm sieve, in that case, we can say 2.36 by 2.36, the pores will be there. So likewise, we can designate the the various sieves. So at the time of this test or grain size analysis, what we have to do? As I told you, we have to use the set of sieves, and we have to prepare the set of sieves like that. Below, at the last, we are going to put the pan. Above that, the minimum size of the sieve, 75 microns. Likewise, we can put the various sieves. Okay, and once you are going to put make a stack of the set of sieves, then what we shall do? We shall put the 500-gram dry soil on the top of the sieve, and after that, we shall keep on the sieve shaker machine. So once you are going to shake it, what is going to happen? The particles of lower size, suppose in whatever the lower size of the particles will be there, right, compared to these sieves, it will go below that. Likewise, it will be shifted one by one. So what we have to do, I will also explain in the next slides. You can see you have put the 500 grams soil sample on the top, and you have used the sieve shaker machines. That means you have set this soil along with the set of sieves. So before that, we have to also take the initial weight of all the sieves separately. First, we have to take the initial weight. Then we shall put the 500 grams soil, and after that, we shall shake it. So once this work is over, then we shall take out the set of sieves outside, and one by one, we shall separate the sieves and take the weight. You can see here that on all these sieves, the particles will be retaining there. The particles will retain on each and every sieves here, right? Okay, depending upon the sizes. So here you can see that suppose this is 4.75 mm sieve, but here some sizes are retaining on that. That means these particles are greater than 4.75 mm. Likewise, the retainment will be there on the different sieves. So initial weight we have taken. Now we have to take the weight of each sieve along with the retained soil. We can understand this table. That is very important. So we have to prepare the tables like this way. So first, in the first column, we can write the size of the sieves, right? And the particle size we can write like this way: 4.75 mm. 4.7 numerical value we need for drawing the graphs. Okay. Then, as I told you, we have to, in the beginning, we have to take the mass of the each sieve separately. And once the sieves are shaked along with the soil, then we shall take the final weight. So mass of sieve and retained soil, you are going to get like this way. For example, you are going to get like this way. Then how much soil is retained on each sieve? We shall subtract the 394 from 416. Similarly, 356 from 376, and we shall get the retained soil. This is the retained soil, okay, on each sieve. So how we can find out the cumulative retained soil? Cumulative retained soil, the percentage cumulative retained soil, how we can find out? You can see here. Suppose on the first sieve 22 gram is there. So on the second sieve, how we can find out? We shall add these two values. 22 plus 20 is equal to 42. Similarly, what will be the retainment, the cumulative retainment at these sieves? These three we shall add and we shall write here, right? Similarly, at this sieve, the cumulative retainment, we shall add all these values. After that, you can see in this column, cumulative percentage of retainment soil. Cumulative percentage, how we can find out? The formula is also given there. Weight of soil retained on that sieve divided by total weight of soil taken. That means, suppose on the first sieve, 4.4 gram is retained. Then 4.4 gram we shall put on the numerator, and then at the denominator, 500 gram we shall keep. So 4.4 divided by 500 gram into 100, we can get the percentage retainment. Percentage retainment we can get, okay? But cumulative retainment also we can get like this way, by the same formula. So here also you can see, suppose you want to find out the cumulative percent retainment on these sieves. So 8.5, this 42 divided by the total weight of the soil into 100, you will get this value. Similarly, in the first case, what we have to do, 22 divided by 500 into 100, we shall get this cumulative percentage. So cumulative percentage, likewise, we shall get for the each C. So for 42 cumulative, this will be the cumulative percentage. 104 total cumulative retention, we shall get this percentage. So once you are going to get this value, then what we have to do? We have to find out the percent finder passing, right? So in that case, percent passing, what we have to do? See here, cumulative percent determinant is 4.4%. So we have to subtract from 100, right? What does it mean? Here we are going to say 95.6%, 95.6. That means only 4.4 is retained on the top sieve and 95.6% are going to pass through the set of sieves from top to bottom. Similarly, here cumulative retention is 8.4 and you are going to subtract the 8.4 from 100. Then what we shall do? What we shall get? We shall get 91.60. That means the 8.4% is retaining on that sieve and 91.6% is passing in the bottom sieves, through the bottom sieves. So likewise, we have to find out the percentage retention. Okay. So once we are going to complete this table, then we shall draw the graphs in between the particle size, these values and these values we shall take for drawing the graphs. So particle size will be drawn on the x-axis and this will be on the y-axis. Particle size x-axis, always we have to convert these values in log scale because the size of the particles are very less. That's why you have to convert into the logarithmic scale. This value we have to convert in logarithmic scale, and then the log value of these values, and then this percent fire on y-axis. We shall draw the graphs. Okay, so we can see the graphs. We shall get the graphs like this way. So this x-axis on the log scale and y-axis on the arithmetic scale, that is the percent finder passing. So now we can see, suppose you are going to collect the soil sample from the 3 different locations. Definitely we can draw the 3 graphs. So here 3 graphs have been drawn. Okay. So how we can distinguish the graphs? You can see here, there are 3 things are there. 3 types of curves are there: poorly graded, well graded, and gap graded. What does it mean? Poorly graded means, suppose the size of the particles are of similar dimension or similar size. If all the particles have the same sizes, in that case, we can call it as a poorly graded soil. Okay. And well graded means, if in this you can see it is also called uniformly graded. Remember it. You can say the uniformly graded soil as a poorly graded soil also. And you can see this is a completely vertical line. What it indicates that only one size is there. You can see on the x-axis, if you are going to see the different percentage on the y-axis, all the particles are coming on of the same sizes at the x-axis because of the vertical lines. Okay. And well graded means all the sizes are there. You can see this, all the sizes are go on decreasing. That means this soil sample which you have collected from some location will have the well graded. That means it will have all the sizes of the particles. You can see the well graded soil. You can see the smooth curve. That curve is going to cover all the sizes of the particles which is available on the x-axis, right? You can see the drawings. Gap graded means, suppose some particles are missing. Whatever the samples we have collected from any site, if some particle sizes are not there in that sample, we can say it is gap graded. That means some particle sizes are missing. It is not available in that soil, right? So what we are going to do here, you can see the graphs of the gap graded. Suppose gap graded means we shall get some point here, we shall get some point here, some points here. Again, we shall get some points here and here and here. But in the between, in this bit, this line, you can see horizontal lines. In case of gap graded, this may be completely vacant. We have drawn as a solid line, but this will be completely vacant. Vacant means no points on this graph we are going to mark here. Why? Because we are not going to get any size of that particles. That's why it will completely remain vacant or blank or empty or gap. Okay. So This solid line we have drawn here, but it will be completely gap. So that's why it is called a gap graded. We can see here, as I already told you, a soil is said to be well graded when all the sizes are available in that soil. A smaller particles fill the voids between the higher particles. In case of well graded soil is always better, okay, because it is having all the sizes, and in between the bigger sizes, whatever the gaps or whatever the voids are going to form in between the solid particles, the finer particles will fill the voids and soil will achieve a good strength, right? More compaction we can get. Here also we have written the definition, which I have also explained you. See, these three terminology for the coarse grain soil, the D10, D30, D60s are very, very important, right? And these values we are going to take from the graphs. As already you have seen the table in the previous slides, percent fineness and the size of the particles. We are going to use it to draw the graphs. Once we have drawn the graphs, suppose this graph we have drawn, right? This graph we have drawn. So what do you mean by D60? D60 means the 60% finer. We are going to take one point this on the y-axis 60 point we have to take it here, and then we have to draw a horizontal line. Wherever it cuts our curves which has already been drawn, so from that point we shall draw the vertical line. Wherever it cuts at the x-axis, suppose it is going to cut at the 5. That means this is the 5 millimeter. 5 millimeter, the size of the particle is there. That means what we can say about the D60. D60 means the particles, 60% of the particles of the sample which you have collected from the site, or right, are finer than the 5 millimeter sizes. That means 60% of that particles are less than 5 millimeter. Okay, that is the meaning. Suppose this is the D10. This line is D10. So we are going to take here D10, means 10% finer. So we have to mark one point here. Then we shall draw a horizontal line. Wherever it cuts your curves, from that point we have to draw the vertical line. Suppose it is going to cut at 0.003, for example. That means whatever the sample we have collected, or we have analyzed, or we have drawn the graphs, that means the 10% of the particles are less than 0.002 mm sizes. Like that we can interpret. So now we shall see some definitions. Coefficient of uniformity, normally it indicates the size of the particles, and we can define it D60 by D10. Suppose you are going to get D60 is equal to 2 mm and D10 is equal to 0.01 mm, for example. So 2 mm divided by 0.01 mm will be the values of coefficient of uniformity, right? Here also we have given the example. D60 we are going to get from this graph is 1.28, and D10 we are going to get the 0.0017, right? So we can say it is greater than 6. So what do you mean by 6? We shall see in the next slides, okay? And D10 is also always called as effective diameter of the particles. This also you have to know. So next terminology is CC, coefficient of curvature, right? It indicates the shape of the particles, whether particles is having the hexagonal shape or semi-round shape, what type of shape is there. So that for that we can use the CC. So how we can determine the CC from the graph? It is defined as D30 square divided by D60 into D10. So once you see, if you are a experienced geotechnical engineers, based on the graph itself, you can say whether your soil sample or the soil which you have collected from any field is well graded or poorly graded. You can easily say. But suppose you are not having confidence, you are not going to, you are not able to find out whether your soil sample is well graded or poorly graded. In that case, we have to use this sample. You have to use this chart, right? We have to use this table to find out whether your sample is well graded or poorly graded. In that case, what we have to do, we have to draw the graphs in between the particle size and percent finder, right? Once you get the graphs, so from that graphs, we have to find out the values of Cu and Cc, right? You can see here, in case of gravel, if you are going to get the values of Cu after calculation with the formula, you are greater than 4, right? And Cc, coefficient of curvature, you are going to get in between 1 and 3. Then we can say the gravel sample which you have collected from the field is well graded, right? If this condition is not going to be met, in that case we can say it is a poorly graded. Similarly, in case of sand, sand also comes under the coarse grain soil. If Cu value coefficient of uniformity D60 by D10, you have calculated from the graphs which is greater than 6, and the Cc by this formula, it is coming in between 1 and 3, right? And then we can say it is a well-graded sand. But if these conditions are not going to be made, right? In that case, we can say that the sand is the poorly graded. Now we shall talk about the use of particle size distribution curves, or we can say what are the advantages of the particle size distribution curve. Why we draw the particle size distribution curves? So that is also one of the important questions for your exam point of view. So what is the use of particle size distribution curves? Based on the particle size distribution curves, we can analyze the coarse grain soil. Okay, coarse grain soil, and definitely we can say that whether soil is well graded or poorly graded or gap graded. By particle size distribution curve itself, we can say. See, the coefficient of permeability, which we can also say as a permeability itself. So coarse grain soil depends upon the size of the particles. If the particle size is bigger, it will be more permeable. The soil will be more permeable. Okay, and if it is the sizes are less, but it should be well graded. If the particles are of the well graded, in that case permeability will be less, because all the sizes of the particles are there. So coefficient of permeability also depends upon the size of the particles. See, it can also be used in the design of drainage filter. Wherever you are going to construct the chimney in case of earthen dam, or you are going to design the water treatment plant or the wastewater treatment plant, there also we have to use the filter, sand filters. So in that case, we can use this particle size distribution curve. Particle size distribution curves indicates the strength of the soil, shear strength of the soil. What does it mean? That means if your soil is well graded, definitely the soil will show a good strength. Okay, it will have good shear strength, but poorly graded soil does not have good shear strength. Compressibility means consolidation or settlement of the soil. That means if the soil is uniformly graded, there is a chance of more settlement compared to the well-graded soil. Particle size distribution curve also gives the idea about the soil stabilization and the design of pavement. Whenever you are going for the road construction, what we have to do? We have to collect the soil sample from the subgrade material. Subgrade is nothing but the soil material. It is the soil on which you are going to construct the road or the pavement. So particle size distribution indicates that whether the soil is well graded or poorly graded. That means whether your subgrade soil is the well graded or poorly graded. If soil is well graded, in that case, your subgrade materials, that means the subgrade soil will have more strength, right? And in that case, the thickness of the pavement will decrease. Okay, but if the soil is poorly graded or gap graded, in that case, you have to make your subgrade soil the well graded. Unless otherwise, the strength of the subgrade will not be adequate or sufficient. The second point, next point we can see, the particle size distribution curves also indicates the mode of deposition of soil. We have already studied that the wind transported soil, the first lecture, soil formation, then transportation of soil. In case of transportation of soil, we have also discussed about the wind transported soil, water transported soil. These are the agency, glaciers, gravity. See, these are the agency which transport the soil from one location to the other locations. So gap graded whenever you are going to collect the soil sample, and after analysis, if it indicates that the soil is having the gap graded, that means we can say directly that the deposition of soil at that location has taken place by the two agencies or different agencies, which may be wind transported, maybe the water transported. The particle size distribution curve of the residual soil, right, can also be judged by the particles. For residual soil, we can also find out by the particle size distribution curve. Residual soil, as you know, normally it deposited at the location of the formation itself. So what we can see that the fine grain soil at the surface and the grain size increases with depth may indicate the age of the soil deposit. Millions of years have taken place in the soil formation, soil generation, right? So age of the soil, that means what we can say based on the, suppose you are going to collect the soil sample from the residual soil sample you are going to collect. Okay, so what it indicates that the bigger size of the particles has been accumulated, right, at the bottom, and then gradually in the up to the surface or in the upward direction, we can see the finer particles are going to be deposited, right? So it indicates the age of soil deposit. So based on the particle curves, we can also we can say that the what is the age of the soil deposits. Okay, so I think this is all about the today lectures. We shall talk about the next lecture tomorrow. Thank you very much.